welcome to All Talk, the Geekbox Forums community podcast. This is episode 18 for the week of June 4th, 2012. This week we discuss topics from the Geekbox Forums, including Dishonored, Les Miserables, Game Deals and the Humble Bundle 5, manga, PAX Run 2012, DVD and Blu-ray releases, and this week's Moviebox pick, Bronson. Hello and welcome to All Talk, the Geekbox Forums community podcast. This is episode 18. I'm Dakazu from the forums, and who is with me this week?
IliyaMoroumetz.
Mr. X.
Rodney.
And Totoro.
Hi, everybody.
Ronnie, I thought you were Norman.
Norman?
Yeah, who said that? Who called you Norman?
Norman Jaden, FBI.
I believe that was Dark Fox.
I don't
Norman.
know where he got
funny.
that from.
I think that's one of
Norman.
those you had to be there moments, though.
Probably.
You had to be there. Ilya, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
How do you feel being on a podcast?
Well, I've listened to so many of them, I never really gave it any thought of what it was be like for myself to be in one. So, honored.
We'll ask you that question again at the end. Hopefully it'll still be honored.
Redacted.
I can't believe you guys talked me into this.
Hopefully it's not crying. We try to leave the weeping to a minimum, or keep the weeping to a minimum.
Or a maximum, depending on the guest.
Depending. This week we're talking about the forums, considering we're a forums community podcast for the Geekbox. We actually are going to be looking at some forum threads and using those as topics. Let's see. Let me look at this list. Do you just want to start with Dishonored?
Sure.
All right, go for it, X.
That game looks pretty awesome. It's from Arcane Studios. The developer of Dark Messiah, Might and Magic, I think that's what it's called. And Arx Fatalis.
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 Well, we just all saw the trailer. I
Yeah,
thought
I
it
think
looked interesting.
I think it looks pretty awesome.
I don't think it
looks...
It's supposed to be like a stealth RPG type thing.
What interests me most about it is the setting. I heard somewhere, now correct me if I'm wrong, that it's basically a Victorian era, but like without bronze, or like there was like a developmental part of human history, but without a specific element that's not exactly on Earth, but it's
steampunk?
like, yeah, especially with the policeman on the stilts.
Yeah, there was those walking things that reminded me of the
Striders from
Half-Life. Well, that makes sense since it has the same artist from Half-Life.
Also, guiltily admit that one of the things I liked about the trailer was they were using one of the first songs I sang when I was in choirs. It was "What Should We Do with the Drunken Sailor."
Yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up was
how
haunting.
How long are we into this podcast? Oh, Ilya lasted 2 minutes.
Bring up
before you bring up music stuff.
But that was, that was an exceptionally interesting arrangement of it. It was very, very haunting, and I think fit the backdrop. Very much, put you in a very kind of.
I didn't like how they said early. I wanted them to say early.
Yeah, that was a nitpick.
I liked how they summoned rats.
Yeah,
those plague rats.
It reminds me a lot of BioShock because it looks like you have powers.
Yeah,
well, the girl at the beginning of the trailer kind of made me think of a little sister a little bit.
I wonder if it's gonna be like Thief meets Deus Ex meets BioShock meets Half-Life
Meets Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I didn't see guns. I saw like a wrist-mounted crossbow in the trailer.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And in one of the scenes, one of the gentlemen on the stilts shot at you, and you were able to reflect the shot back at him, and he exploded. So I'm guessing that it also has some kind of, like, giving you some sort of defensive special powers as well.
Yeah, I remember hearing on podcasts, I don't remember which one, but they said that you can possess people, and you'll have like a mission to assassinate someone. And to assassinate them, one of your options is you can possess them, make them jump off a balcony, and then unpossess them right before they hit the ground, and then they die, and then you complete the mission.
It sounds very, what's that PS2 game? PsyOps? Is it PS2?
I think
PS1.
so. 2, I think.
Yeah, the one where you have the psychic powers.
I'm kind of hoping that obviously this is the E3 trailer that we watched, and probably by the time this goes up, it will have been in a. By the time this podcast goes up, it'll have been probably demoed either at, I imagine, the Microsoft press conference or the Sony press conference.
Yeah, maybe, but it's being published by Bethesda.
Right.
And Bethesda doesn't really have a good track record publishing games outside of their own.
Well, also, you said this is the studio that did Might and Magic. That game was really broken when it came out. Like, it's fine now, because it's been patched to hell. But I remember, like, they had major issues when that game first came out.
Yeah, they were also working on a bunch of stuff with Valve. Like, there was this Half-Life project, Return to Ravenholm or something like that, but it was canceled. And then they're also doing that other game that I'm blanking on the name of all of a sudden.
What other games has Bethesda published?
Brink. That one game with the voice, with Mickey Rourke doing the voice. Can't remember the name. It's awful though. Didn't they do Wet?
Yes, I remember that one.
That's 2 for 2. Crap, jeez.
But they also did Rage. I like Rage.
Oh, the id Software game?
Yeah, well, they own id.
Oh, that's right. Oops.
That one was alright, right? But
yes, I like Rage a lot. I mean, it had its issues, but I thought the gameplay is what made that game.
They also published Call of Cthulhu. I brought it up here, and they're publishing Doom 4 Zwei, which is a Tango Gameworks title, and Prey 2.
You guys ever play Call of Cthulhu? That game was fun.
I wanted to play that for a while since they brought it up on
Game Club on Rebel FM.
Yes, I wanted to do that so bad, but
the game that I was blanking on the name of is The Crossing.
Oh, that game? Yeah, that game never came out. That was supposed to be that weird hybrid, first person and multiplayer FPS at the same time.
Yeah, it sounded cool, but they probably ran into the problem that Square did on that game they released. That was awful.
It looks like they've released a lot of Terminator
Which
games
one?
as well.
Ha ha, but
You make me sad.
That makes me sad, man. Squaresoft used to be awesome. What happened?
I just pre-ordered a game from Squaresoft today.
They hired Tetsuya Nomura.
Quantum Conundrum.
That fucker with the zippers?
No.
Quantum Conundrum doesn't have zippers. Well, it might, but it's not zipper focused.
Tetsuya Nomura.
Oh yeah. Well, now if you go back to one of the episodes that we did, it may have been before we started publishing them, but when we were talking about stuff that we were looking forward to over the course of 2012, I think I brought up Quantum Conundrum, and there was one that I saw that was, and I went to the announcement at PAX Prime last year, so I'm really excited that it's finally coming out.
No, that's the one that was designed by the person who used to work at Valve, made Portal, and then left, and now she's doing this.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
It's also a first-person puzzle game with
I
a
didn't
sense
realize
of humor.
Squaresoft is publishing it though.
Yeah, Square Enix.
Squeenix.
Squeenix has IDOS. Don't they have IDOS now as well?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's just I think it's just Square. It's just a division of Square. I don't know that they're necessarily IDOS anymore.
Their IDOS stuff is probably the stuff that's making them money at this point, though.
Who
like
knows?
Deus Ex.
Well, and they're probably
Tomb
making.
Raider.
Yeah,
that got pushed to next year.
But it's still coming out, and it'll sell. Hopefully, it'll
at least
be good
4
and
copies.
sell. Yeah.
You're gonna buy 4 copies?
I'll buy a 4-pack.
The last thing I want to say about Dishonored is it piques my interest, especially the setting. But as far as the graphics go, I was kind of like, they're okay.
Yeah, I mean it has a kind of unique art style. I'll give it that. But technically, it's not all that
You mean
great.
textureless, or it's hard to explain. I don't know if their shadowing or their lighting is not done right, but the facial models look a little weird.
I think that might be intentional. Maybe. I hope.
I guess we'll see.
Give it a little bit of kind of almost ethereal quality to it, or not quite right quality to it.
Is it coming out like next year?
10/9, or so October 9th, I think.
Oh, this year?
This year. Yep.
Oh, this year?
Yeah, October 9th, 2012.
then I wouldn't expect the graphics to make like that big of an overhaul. I guess we'll have to see.
Well, and who knows how long ago that those textures were from.
And that could be the console version.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, shall we move on to a different thread?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay, let's jump into something completely different. I want to talk about the Les Miserables. Blah, I can't say
Les
it.
Miserables.
I just say Les Mis. The Les Mis movie that's coming out.
The French one?
Is there any other kind?
I'm pretty sure there's other kinds.
Well, there's a movie coming out this year, starring Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe.
Catwoman.
Is
Hillbilly?
So is I take it Jackman is playing Valjean and Russell Crowe is playing Javert?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
Just sit this one out. Yeah, that's what's happening.
Okay. And then who is Anne Hathaway? She's not playing Cosette, is she?
Catwoman.
I think she's Fantine.
Okay.
Let me check.
I was gonna say, because my exposure to Les Mis, I mean, I think I've seen the opera once, but a lot of my exposure is from the Belle Auguste production or movie, where it was Liam Neeson, Jeffrey Rush, I think Claire Danes and Uma Thurman were in that, and it was okay.
Speaking of myself, I too saw it on stage and pretty much know most of the songs by heart.
Yeah, same here.
So this is actually the operatic, not the novel.
Yes,
Oh.
this is the operatic. It's all of the songs from the opera.
Okay.
And yes, Anne Hathaway is playing Fantine, which means she's going to be in the movie for like 30 minutes. Not even.
I has a sad no.
Wait, what?
So wait, can Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe sing?
Hugh Jackman can definitely sing. I mean,
Hugh Jackman was started out on theater stuff, like musical theater stuff.
Well,
doesn't he have like Tony Awards and stuff?
Yeah, he's hosted the Tonys on a couple occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he did he put that to use when he hosted the Oscars a few years ago, and
I don't know if he's a tenor. That's
And there's that Saturday Night Live sketch.
Oh, Two Sides.
Yes, I like
and
that sketch.
Russell Crowe has a he's in a rock band.
That doesn't I don't know. That doesn't always translate.
It doesn't always translate, but at least he has some background.
Was that like 30 Odd Foot of Grunts? I think is the name of his band.
I have no idea.
It doesn't matter.
I assume those two are singing. I don't know if Anne Hathaway is singing, but I assume she is. I guess.
Isn't
I don't
she
know
singing
much
in
Well,
the
yeah, she
trailer?
has to, because Fantine has the "I Dreamed of Dreams" song singing.
Yeah, and
so
that's also in the trailer. But you know what? Did you see the Phantom of the Opera movie? And I just threw up in my mouth a little. But did you see
Gerard
that movie?
Butler.
Because they did not get the actors to sing.
Well, I
their
mean,
own
if you
parts.
go
really?
back to even West Side Story, Richard Beymer did not sing his part, and neither did Natalie Wood. Natalie Wood's the recording of that is actually Marnie Nixon. So
Hacks.
I mean, it's not unheard of for this to happen, but I mean, I think it works better, obviously, quite a bit better.
If they sing their own part.
If they sing their own part, yeah, because I mean, it doesn't sound like a completely different person. Well, it kind of has a quality of like Singing in the Rain about it. If they don't sing their own part, I don't know if anyone else here is familiar with that movie.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. One of the major characters cannot sing, cannot act, and cannot dance, and yet Gene Kelly's character and another gentleman I can't remember at the moment enlist the help of another woman who speaks and sings her roles. But when
Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, and then when the first character gets wind of it, she pretty much threatens to sue unless she continues to be her personal performer.
Yeah, that's Donald. Oh, I can't remember the name of the actor. I know his last name or first name is Donald, but he has some really good. He has a really good number in there. That's probably my favorite number in any musical film. But anyway,
I just want to mention the thread because it's funny. Because Fluff Logic from the forums says, and I quote, "I fucking hate the musical of this. Hate it." And then everyone was
why?
jumping in and like being like, "Why? What's wrong?" But I guess some people are saying, like Kenzo's saying, if you haven't seen like this show live, then you can't judge it, which I say is bullshit. I mean, I said so in the thread. You don't have to see like Les Mis live to say like it's not your cup of tea.
Olympia says in the thread, "I want to throw up."
Yeah, she does. But Ilya, do you agree? You don't have to see something live to know that you don't like it.
Yes, I agree. I mean, because I've heard the soundtrack from the musical Paint Your Wagon, and yeah, the music's great and has some great songs. I even learned one of them as one part of my repertoire. But unfortunately, that just doesn't. That's show's just not my thing.
I understand what Kenzo's saying. He was giving this story about like how he didn't like Jimmy Eat World, the band, and hated all the songs. Let's see. He wrote, back in high school, I hated Jimmy Eat World. I hated their songs, their band, their sound, etc. And then hearing them play live without a bunch of post-production wankery, and with the acoustics of a live venue where they could tailor their song list and how they played to the crowd, was like listening to an entirely different band, and I flip-flopped on them instantly.
Well, I mean, but that's just, that's just the way, live music can be. It's not, I don't know. Well, I think that you're going to have you have a lot more flexibility in popular music, whereas, when you have the orchestra and the singers in a Broadway production, it's different because you don't have as much, change. If I'm making any sense at all. Can someone help me here?
No, you make sense.
Yeah, you're making sense. Take an example. A non-musical example is that way. I was in a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, where instead of the usual Shakespearean, settings, we switched things up a bit, and instead of, in usual Victorian England, we did it in the Deep South, where the lords were colonels, and the fairies were gypsies, and the mechanicals were they're basically carpenters, were basically European immigrants. Like, it still kept to the same spirit of the show, but yet it was done with a different coat of paint, but it still worked.
Yeah, I guess kind of what I'm trying to think of is, without sounding overly pretentious, I feel almost like, Broadway and like musical productions is almost like something like Shakespeare, whereas something like popular music has a lot more give and take, and it's more like, if you go see, jazz.
Oh, sure.
Something like that. So you have a lot more, it's a lot more freer, I guess, is what I'm really trying to get at. But
I think we can acknowledge what Kenzo is saying. Giant Asian Man wrote in the same thread, he said, "For me, I wasn't a fan of Les Mis until I saw it live. I remember being wildly impressed by a guy who did a slow-motion somersault as the stage rotated during the runaway cart scene."
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So, yeah, I understand, like, there's a difference in seeing it live, and it's it's even much better, but hey, I said fluff logic. If he doesn't like it, then he doesn't like it. There you go.
There's not going to be anything that you or I are going to be able to say to him to convince him otherwise. I mean, taste is taste.
I just think it was funny because everybody was like, fluff logic, you gotta see it live. No, what?
Well, I mean, I definitely get that because, if I sit, and I've tried a number of times because when I was in school a lot, there were a lot of people who would listen to, the original Broadway recordings of these different productions, and I would sit there and try and listen to it, and it's like, this isn't doing anything for me in particular. It's just, I need to, but once I actually see something performed, even if it's a recording, with the audio and the visual, or like live, then it kind of all comes together for me.
All right. Okay, I think we should move on before X and Rodney fall asleep.
Too late.
What's up? I'm here. What? Who did it?
Yeah, anyway.
I agree.
The butler did it.
Here, let's move on to a topic we can all talk about. Ilya just made a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thread in the TV and movies section of the forums.
Best television show ever.
I like it, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
There are a lot of them on Netflix since it's streaming.
And you can get quite a few of them like on Amazon for cheap. I mean, like unless with the exception of one particular set that had Godzilla versus Megalon on it, because the distributor, I think it was Rhino or Idea Factory, didn't like completely iron out all the details with Toho. They had to take it off because Toho wasn't all that keen on seeing one of their movies being torn apart. And so, like, you can get that single set just because it has Godzilla versus Megalon on it, usually for about $150, when most of them go for less than 30.
That is pretty expensive.
You guys have all seen that show, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I used to watch it all the time when it
Oh
was
my
on
God.
like Comedy
What?
Central.
I have never watched that show.
Do you know what it is?
I know what it is, yeah. I know it's on Netflix.
Show that spawned.
I should watch it.
Wait,
Proceeded.
is this because you're Canadian?
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
They had it in Canada?
I don't think they did.
Probably.
Because like
Maybe.
it was originally on Comedy Central. No, actually, it was started on KTMA, which is
Public access.
yeah, and then it went to Comedy Central, and for the last like 3 or 4 seasons, they went to the Sci-Fi Channel when it was spelled like it was supposed to be spelled, not sci-fi.
Exactly.
But I digress.
Well, and the great thing about that was, and probably what made it so easy for them to make, was they took these movies that were, in the public domain and just, I mean, that kept costs really low. They didn't have to license most of that stuff until, like, later seasons, like we were talking about with Godzilla and Toho stuff.
Oh yeah, but like it wasn't a total loss. Well, I mean, like, not loss per se, but like they did like about 5 different movies of a competing Japanese monster called Gamera, from the company called Daiei, but it was translated exactly. But initially the translator Sandy Frank, who like sold like not only Gamera movies but like several other like television series movies, like like every now and then in Japan they have these like 2.5 hour long like movies that are supposed to encapsulate the entirety of a series. He was able to get a few of those, such as Mighty Jack and Fugitive Alien, also known as Star Wolf, over here, and the MST guys were able to riff them. So naturally, when Sandy Frank got word of it, he wasn't all that happy about it, and he pretty much denied Idea Factory or any other like distributors that wanted to sell them domestically until the license that he had on it ran out. And so now you can happily purchase MST3K versus Gamera collection. It's worth every penny.
I learned something.
Yeah.
Font of knowledge.
Well, yeah,
Knowledge
I'm a self-admitted idiot savant when it comes to MST3K.
Really? No, we couldn't tell. Yeah,
Which guy did you like better, the first guy or the second guy?
Oh, that's an impossible question to answer.
Well, I like the first guy just because I haven't seen a lot of the second guy. I watched a lot of the earlier episodes.
I mean, episode.
Joel and Mike.
I like Mike. Mike
was pretty good.
Mike is pretty good.
Which robot do you like the best?
Crow.
I like them all.
Crow. Gotta be Crow.
Definitely Crow.
Come on, Tom Servo was voiced by Kevin Murphy, who has a marvelous singing voice.
Cambot?
Gypsy.
Yes.
Tom Servo.
Crow. Rodney's like, what? What are you guys doing? I don't understand. We gotta recommend one of the Mystery Science Theater 3000s on Netflix to Rodney. What is a good starting point?
Isn't there one where it's like Santa Claus on Mars?
Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good. Well, the movie's not good.
My dad didn't like Mystery Science Theater 3000 because he said they would ruin all the good movies.
So now we know where you get your choice and taste in movies from.
Well, I never said anything to the contrary.
I mean, like, the par for the course for them to make fun of bad movies, but like every now and then they actually like are able to riff on these, poorly dubbed movies that are brought over here that are surprisingly actually not that bad. I mean, they have a trio of Russo-Finnish movies that are like scripted well, and like despite how goofy they are, they're colorful, they have great music, and as strange as they are, they're actually kind of watchable. I mean, one of them was called Jack Frost, which is just basically an amalgamation of at least half a dozen different Slavic fairy tales all rolled into one movie, which actually a lot of kids in Eastern Europe and Russia saw when they were kids, and it was actually pretty entertaining, despite the fact it was just so bizarre.
Well, isn't
You
that
were not
like,
kidding about being an idiot savant about this.
I wear that badge with pride.
I was about to say something, but now I don't remember. Shit.
Do you have a favorite episode, Ilya?
Oh, jeez. Well, yes, actually I do. There's so many that I like, but the one that I like the most is called The Sword and the Dragon, which is one of those Russo-Finnish productions that I mentioned, because it's basically the story of a Russian folk hero, IliyaMoroumetz.
Oh, okay.
I mean, granted, it's not an exact retelling of the legend of IliyaMoroumetz, but it's rather entertaining. And a few neat facts about it was that it was narrated by Mike Wallace, and the person who dubbed the main antagonist was the same voice actor who did Boris Bedunov on the Rocky and Bullwinkle show.
I have a
Moose
question for you,
and
Ilya.
Squirrel.
Have you been buying any of the riff tracks?
Yes, we actually have a few of them, and they're wonderful, because like the first one we saw was for the first Twilight movie. The instant I saw them using the Yakety Sax theme song for the scene when whatever the two main characters' names are speeding through the trees, they were doing the Benny Hill theme song, and I knew that this was a worthy successor.
I still haven't listened to any, but I'm thinking about it.
I bought and downloaded one for the room, and I've just never got around to it, and I may do that next
What's
weekend.
the point of getting one for the room? The room writes itself.
But
It seems
it could just
Get
be,
a group of people, watch the room, and then like instant
just go.
magic.
Yeah.
it seems redundant.
Seriously,
It's I don't know. I bought that one because I think it was like a couple bucks when I got it, and I was like, okay, sure, I'll listen to these guys rather than listen to some other people. Not to say that my friends are not funny, but or that I don't mind listening to them when we watch that movie. But
X. Do you have a favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Probably that one that I mentioned, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Totoro, do you have one?
Just because it's one of the most recent ones I've seen, I will say Pod People.
Yeah, I love Pod People. That is definitely my favorite.
What about the movie?
The movie is, in my opinion, is great. I love that. I've seen that I don't know how many times.
Oh yeah, that's like, though you can tell that they had to cut it down a few scenes, because you could tell that there was a few scenes that had to be cut for the sake of time, because that's something they normally have to do, because like one of their most important pivotal episodes during the TV series was a Joe Don Baker vehicle called Mitchell, and
Mitchell.
Exactly, and it was actually an R-rated movie, and there were some rather violent scenes that they had to take it out, since they were on, granted they were on cable TV, like it was on Comedy Central, but still, like when they started doing it, they had kids watching this stuff, so they had to be careful. So, sorry, go on to it.
I actually remember, like, I think it was one morning. I just remember when I was in high school, and I turned on the TV, and I think it was on Sci-Fi, or it could have been on something else, but they had MST3K on, but they were doing Hamlet. I think it was
Yes.
Hamlet. I saw that, and I was like, oh my god, this is, my mind was thoroughly blown.
They were able to get their hands on a dreary, dubbed black and white German version starring Maximilian Schell.
Oh, was that Schell? Oh,
yeah. That was
for those who aren't necessarily so familiar with Maximilian Schell. He was in I think it was 1953, Judgment at Nuremberg with Spencer Tracy. But he was like 30 years old at the time, and I think this was one of his first major U.S. based productions, and he actually won an Oscar for that. So I mean, it's not like some schlub. This is like Oscar award winning actor, Maximilian Schell.
Another fun fact was that in several of the episodes, you actually see like talented and well-regarded actors in some of these cheese eaters, because most likely than not, they need the money. I mean, for example, that they did an episode based on Sax Rohmer's Castle of Fu Manchu, and Fu Manchu himself was played by Christopher Lee. And in another episode, supermodel Kathy Ireland starred in the movie Alien from L.A., though whether she acted or not is up for debate.
Right. Well, I mean, and kind of Christopher Lee is probably, I mean, he's known for being one of those actors who has acted in he's been in over 100 movies, and I think he just turned 90 actually. But he was in the old Hammer horror movies, the English horror movies with
Wasn't he Dracula?
He was.
A Dracula?
I think he was.
Yes, he is one of the more not the most famous, old Dracula.
Like not Bela Lugosi, but
but I would say like the second most famous.
But he was in that with Peter Cushing. I think Peter Cushing played Van Helsing.
Between Totoro and Ilya, we're gonna have to call this the Knowledge Cast episode because it's nothing but like I'm learning so much.
Bunch of nerds.
Well, and here something else is between Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and Vincent Price. They were all born on between 2 days, 2 consecutive days. I want to say April 24th and April 25th or something like that. But 2 of them were born on one day, obviously in different years, and one of them was born on the other day.
Oh man, I'm learning so much.
How you doing, Rodney?
Pub trivia?
Yes.
Is that what we're doing?
I think so.
By the way,
yeah.
Netflix Canada has pulled MST3K for some reason.
What?
So I cannot watch it. No longer available, it says.
You should not stand for this.
Canada, I am
It's pretty
disappointed.
sad.
We will find something for you. You have to experience Mystery Science Theater.
In fact, they actually did what is called the worst thing to ever come out of Canada, which was a movie called The Final Sacrifice, which is actually another favorite because of its one of the main characters is named Zap Rousdower.
That is a great name.
It's a good band name.
Wasn't there a werewolf movie that they did?
Yeah, it was called Werewolf.
Are you sure that's a werewolf movie?
That's original.
I remember that because it was a newer movie that they were doing at the time.
He's gonna turn into a werewolf. But what made that one's claim to fame was how they often mispronounce the name. So I mean, on occasion you have these either these European movies where they're trying to speak English, but you can tell that they're either being dubbed or these people just can't speak English as well as they think they can.
Right.
Okay, you know what? I'm calling this. We're moving on.
But I was done rambling.
I know. That's why we're moving on.
Well, I think before we do move on, we definitely like to have some people go to the thread, kind of post their favorite MST3K episodes, recommend some, because I wouldn't mind having a more quintessential list and maybe going through those and talking about them on a future episode, if that's amenable to everyone.
Nice.
Sure. Okay. I want
There's
to move
a
on.
thread on the forums called Cats or Dogs. It's a pretty good thread. It's
You
where you vote on if you prefer cats or dogs.
Which
or
is
other
winning?
pets. Dogs are winning. But they have 52%. Cats have 36%.
Dakazu,
It's dogs. Duh. I have a dog.
Ilya,
Kitties all the way.
X,
Dogs.
Rodney,
I'd have to say dogs.
and I'll go for dogs as well.
Cats aren't actually pets.
You were
Kind of
the
like
pets
wild
to
animals.
you were the pet to the cat.
Just do whatever they want.
The thread kind of is just, at this point now, just animated GIFs of dogs and cats. It's pretty great.
That sounds good. I should go check that out.
There is a dog dressed up as an AT-AT.
And that's good.
Nice.
I think I saw that one.
It's pretty good.
My dog kind of there are certain breeds of dogs that kind of look like Ewoks, but that's one of my dog. She's half Afrin Pinscher, half Schnauzer, and we could probably get away with her dressing her up as an Ewok. She's not a Brussels Griffon or Brussels Griffon, which really looked like Ewoks, but
So you dress up your dog and stuff?
no, I'm saying I could, and she would look like,
Does your dog wear a sweater?
no.
Okay. You're not a crazy person.
No.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of putting stuff on dogs, though. For Halloween, my wife put a vampire cape on my basset hound.
Oh,
Did
She looked
your
very cute.
Did your dog stand for this?
Yeah, she stands for it. We like to put lays on her.
My dog really likes bandanas, so we get her different bandanas for different like seasons and holidays and stuff. So like she's got a green bandana that has like candy canes on it for Christmas.
We also do bandanas, but the problem with bandanas is that everyone thinks like it's a boy. So I had to get my Basset Hound like pink bandanas and stuff like that.
So dogs are pretty cool.
Yep,
dogs are great. Say hi, Maddie.
She likes
nice
you.
puppy.
She's pissed because I just woke her up.
Your dog is going to eat your face.
Yeah, that'll be later. Let's talk about the game deals thread that's on the games forum, the game section, because that's a very good thread. It's where we post game deals.
That is actually the second game deals thread.
There was a previous one?
Yep. It went on for a bunch of pages. This one is new, so this one is more up to date.
And
but
that's
obviously,
good.
A lot of the links go out of date pretty quick because deals change fast.
Right. And the current one on there is also a new thread that Biggie made for the Humble Bundle 5.
I have almost every game in that bundle, and I still bought it just so I could get Amnesia for cheap.
That's the problem with the Humble Bundle is that usually when the bundle goes up, I have most of the games that are on there. And then they recently changed that too, where now you can't. You used to be able to individually give out, your double copies to friends over Steam. You can't do that anymore.
Well, if you pay over the average, then you also get Bastion, and that's a separate Steam code, so you could give that code away if you wanted.
Right.
Which I think the average right now is like 740 something.
782.
Is it 780? Okay, so 740 is the average for Windows users. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
When you buy that stuff, do you give it all to charity, or do you just leave it at the default split? Because you can say how much of the money goes to who, like goes to the developer, goes to the indie bundle people, and the charity.
You can determine how much you go by yourself. I mean, they have sliders that says that can adjust how much you give to which.
Yeah, I'm saying, but what do you choose?
I did it at the default because that's just how I left it. And that's the other thing about the Indie Humble Bundle. You can pay as much as you want. You could pay a cent if you want it to be a complete
Yeah,
$1.
You have to pay $1 to get the Steam codes, though.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was $1. Well, and it's also $1, I think, to get the soundtracks. And the soundtracks come in like good FLAC format, FLAC, free lossless audio codec. So I mean, this is like almost master quality audio. It's not compressed or anything.
But if you look, Notch, the creator of Minecraft, he donated like $6,543.21.
Yeah, that's
Show
cool.
off.
Wow.
Did he give it all to charity?
I am unsure.
Yeah, if I see, I'll be honest. I've never bought any of the Humble bundles just because of at the time that it's come out that I've mitigating circumstances and all that. But I think I would be tempted to kind of give it all to Child's Play.
But you can just pay $1, Totoro. You could be that guy.
You could pay a cent.
Yeah, but I would rather not do it or not do that and not feel like a complete dickhead. And I have all those games except for I've heard it said so many times now, but I can never remember it. The Super Nanny.
Super Brothers?
Super
Sword and Sorcery?
Super Brothers. I was like,
Super
I
Brothers
can't
Sword and
remember.
Sorcery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game started out as a iPhone game.
Oh, okay.
Also,
iPad.
what's
iPhone?
EFF?
I
The
don't know.
Electronic Frontier Foundation, they
okay.
do a lot of stuff. I wanted to say I don't want to, that may be either Cory Doctorow or Larry Lessig started that, but don't quote me on that. But they do a lot of things as far as legislation, or I don't want to say they lobby, but they're the people who stand up for your rights online quite a bit. So that's also a very, very good place to go for your money to go, at least in my opinion.
Let me read off.
Affiliation with the EFF or with Child's Play at all. So
let me just read off the list of the games on this bundle real quick. It's Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Psychonauts, Limbo, Super Brothers Swords and Sorcery EP, and if you pay above the average, which is $7.82 right now, you get Bastion.
Bastion is great.
It is so good.
And then you also get the soundtracks as well.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's a good deal.
But seriously,
Yeah,
Bastion, super good.
I probably, I mean, the only game that I have from that collection is Bastion, but I probably want to get it for the soundtracks too, because those are some good music they have.
Yeah, I love good game music, and that qualifies.
Bastion soundtrack is really good.
Although I'll have to admit, I've only listened to about a half hour of anything from Amnesia, just because that game, it just creeps me out so much.
I don't know if I want to install that.
Yeah, it's
It's-
creepy.
Yeah.
I installed it.
Seriously, don't.
I'll play it.
As a side note, I want to nominate the World of Goo soundtrack as the best video game soundtrack you'll ever hear. That was made by two guys. But anyway, I digress.
I don't know. The Bastion soundtrack is really good.
Did you say specifically, is it like the Made by Two Guys video game soundtrack?
No, it's the soundtrack for the game World of Goo, and it's a phenomenal soundtrack. But that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you were putting a qualifier on there as far as, of all the game soundtracks ever made that were made by two guys, then that one's the best.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
The Humble Bundle
those-
breaks down the average price donated, and Linux users donate more than everybody else.
Yeah,
I find that interesting.
Is that because they think they're better than everyone else?
well, I think the thing is that they put a higher value on things.
Because they use a
And,
free operating system?
Well, I think they are more inclined to support, I think, is what it boils down to. Their
That sounds true.
their independent developers.
Well, there's also the least number of users.
Yes.
I don't know,
mean,
Totoro. I want to know your sources on that. I want some quotes. I want some facts.
You want some facts?
I'm calling you out.
Just the facts,
Okay.
ma'am.
Well, let me give you the name of this guy, and he'll talk to you about it.
All right, I expect that name by the end of the podcast.
His name is Richard M. Stallman.
Whoa! Don't name
No,
drop
whoa,
here.
no, I don't know him. I wish I did, but no, he's the guy who came up with one of the main guys behind the GNU project. So
I don't know what that is.
you don't know what the GNU project. No,
Did you
it's
say canoe?
no GNU. Oh my God. Okay.
See, I thought he
It's a
said
joke.
canoes.
Are you talking about new guns?
Oh no.
I wasn't joking around. I was being serious.
Anyway, no. You don't know who? Okay, so do you want me to explain who Richard Stallman
No,
is?
not really.
And GNU.
No, not really.
Okay. Well, it's the open source project that they
No, not
developed a lot of
really.
stuff for
Moving
Linux
right
operating system. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
What
But
part
no.
of no, not really? You not
Let's
understand?
go.
There was a new Gears of
Um,
War announced. There was.
Okay.
Wait,
It's
are we?
the,
Gears of
do we
Culture
want to?
game.
Gears of War Judgment.
Is that true?
Yay.
Starring Cole.
Yes, starring Baird and Cole.
So Richard M. Stallman.
It's being made by People Can Fly.
No, I'm kidding.
Are the same people who did Bullet Storm?
I believe so, yes.
And Painkiller.
Painkiller 1 is a good game.
Actually, People Can Fly, aren't they the ones that made Shadow Complex?
That's Chair.
That's
Okay, then. I had them mixed up. They're both owned by Epic.
Okay. Does Totoro, do you want to mention your PAX Prime 2012 thread?
Yes, I do. Here at the end of August, or beginning of September, the Labor Day weekend, if you're in the States. Otherwise, it's just the end of August, beginning of September, that weekend. I'm going to be heading out to PAX Prime, heading out to Seattle. But I created a thread on the forums, and I was kind of asking if, anyone else is going. If you are going, post in there. I definitely would like to meet up with some other Geekbox folks, if they're out there, if there's anyone listening. But
So, like, that would include people like Liquid. You want to meet Liquid?
What do you have against
Okay,
Liquid?
if there's anyone who's not named Liquid, and I don't have a problem saying that because I doubt that he's ever gonna hear.
But seriously, what do you have against Liquid?
He's Liquid. Have
You
you
guys
have
are
you read the
racist.
things that he's?
Racist.
I'm racist against people from Wisconsin named Liquid.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there.
But yeah, no, definitely. If you're planning on going out to PAX, let us know if you're not going out to PAX. When we get closer, I'll give some information out to like follow me through some different sources. I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures and doing a lot of tweets and posts to like Twitter and probably Google Plus. But I'm going to be taking a metric shitload of pictures. So, but we'll do that then.
Okay. Moving right along. Let's see. Ilya, you want to tell us about the CD Projekt announces Cyberpunk? Because I know nothing about this.
Yes. Okay. So CD Projekt Red, the creators of the very successful Witcher 1 and 2, have now decided to switch gears after hiring several more people to be able to start on a brand new Blade Runner inspired Cyberpunk game, which is going to be coming out next year. Wait, no, they didn't have a release yet, so don't quote me on that.
But the title of this game is Cyberpunk?
It's based on a board game.
Oh,
yeah.
It is?
Called Cyberpunk.
That would make more sense. I was about to say, it's kind of a generic title.
Well, pen and paper RPG.
I can see why people are excited about this if it's the people who did Witcher, though. Because I was like, I don't know what the big deal is. Now I know.
I have both Witchers 1 and 2. I can safely say that if they do the same thing with this one that they did with the Witcher games, then I'm not worried about this game at all, and I'm probably going to get it myself.
I want to see what it is. Is it like a shooter? Is it RPG? I mean, I don't know what it is. It could be something completely different than what they've done before.
From what I have read, they haven't gone into extreme details just yet. So, I mean, it could be they could be doing another Witcher style game, only changing the setting, or maybe they're doing a first-person Deus Ex style.
Well, they called it an RPG.
Well, yeah, I mean, but just because it's an RPG doesn't mean it's.
I was hoping for a 2D platformer called Cyberpunk.
Would you be hopping up and down on between building to building like you do on Mirror's Edge?
It would have been like Fade to Black. Have you ever played that?
I have not.
That is a good game. Good reference.
Thank you.
Let's see. Well, if we're done with Cyberpunk, I will quickly mention that I want people to check out my what manga are you reading thread. Because currently I'm just updating it as I read my manga.
Well, you read more manga than any person alive.
I do. I have 30 series that I've read, and I still need to write up. It's I like reading more than writing up things. But Darfox has been contributing, reading, which I appreciate. Kananda's in there now, which I don't know if I'm totally happy about.
So Too Long didn't read?
Yeah. TLDR featuring...
Kananda, he likes stuff that I do not like, but, whatever. I'm waiting for it to become for him to try and take it over the anime thread.
I tempted to take a look because the last manga series I read was actually probably not one. I'm not sure if you read it or not, but it's just Emma. Ever heard of that?
Yes, I have. I haven't read it myself, but I know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's. I don't know. What I like about it is the fact that it's Victorian. I mean, it's subtle. I mean, as opposed to overblown like most other manga is. I'm sorry, that was a blanket statement. I didn't mean to generalize. But to me, it was a very nice, I guess you could say, a nice slower paced story that I found myself liking a lot. I mean, it's just a simple, Victorian era romance between a maid and a upcoming young man from the gentry, and they talk about class. They talk about how the various classes and the inequality that goes on between it, and the social stature and everything that has to do with it. I mean, it was well researched, and that landed some major points with me. Sounds
interesting, but probably not my cup of tea.
Probably not. I mean, it's. I acknowledge that it's not for everyone, but again, I'm not into manga and anime as much as I used to be. So what do I know?
Rodney, what do you think?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh man, Rodney is why did we bring him? Why did we bring you, Rodney?
What are you talking about, anime?
I don't know. Just stupid things.
Whatever.
Way to be dismissive.
All right, let's talk about the best subtopic on the forums.
Okay.
The Star Trek forum.
Okay.
Clearly, that's the winner.
Let's talk about the thread that I made, Star Trek.
It's not my thread.
No, it's my thread. I made it.
Oh.
Hail Shatner.
Okay. No, I want to let Rodney speak. Okay. Well, tell us about the Star Trek thread. What's happening in the Star Trek thread?
Everyone usually just fights about which Trek is best, and
Next
everyone is
generation.
wrong.
Kenzo posted a picture of Spock that says highly illogical.
Oh, Kenzo's in the Star Trek thread? No.
I know, it's shocking news.
So
Basically, Kenzo, some Dark Fox in there,
Higgins, me a little.
Higgins
No,
is like
Rodney.
my favorite one is the one with the Millennium Falcon. No wait.
Yeah, I haven't done anything for a while.
No,
I did just pick
shouldn't.
up a Blu-ray with the HD remaster of TNG. There's 3 episodes on it.
Wasn't that like $80 for 3 episodes?
No,
Oh,
it's like
nice.
$17. So I picked it up, and it looks really good.
So is it just like a preview, or what is that? I mean, it's only got 3 episodes.
It's just 3 random episodes.
So when they release a complete series like that, are you gonna get it?
Well, each season is going to be like $100.
Yeah, it's gonna be $12,000 for the complete series.
So that's
So
ridiculous.
what is that? That's going to be. You said each season is going to be like $100. That's like $700.
I think season 1 comes out in a couple weeks.
Just wait for the one big bundled thing. That's what I would do.
Well, Amazon will sell it cheaper. I don't know if you know that about Amazon, but they sell
They
things
sell
cheap.
stuff.
But they don't have the same deals here.
Oh,
Your Amazon deals thread is useless.
While I'm thinking about, did you guys see about the Avengers Blu-ray?
What about it?
What about...
Okay, so they're doing like a 2-disc version of it, and then they're kind of doing a more deluxe 4-disc Blu-ray 3D version of it. But then they're also doing a 10-disc version that has all of the
What?
that has all of it has Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2,
Oh,
the
cool.
Incredible
Okay.
Hulk, the Avengers, Cap, and Thor on it. And it has all of those movies all in one kind of package.
That's actually kind of cool.
I already have
That-
all those.
But it's
I
like
don't have any of
100.
those.
I think it's like $120 or something, or it's.
That's expensive.
You should just get
Well,
them
it's-
individually
but it's
since
like-
they're like $7.
But it's like 7 movies. So,
Well, that's
What
still
is this, Lord of the
expensive.
Rings?
but if you, it's like it's not that much when you kind of break it down like that. It's like $20 a movie, which is kind of.
I'm not
standard.
breaking it down. It's $120 for for entertainment.
Something I
You
don't
pay
know. I can't-
$20 a movie?
It's a cool
I-
box set, though.
I don't. Well, I think they have. It comes in like this package that it's kind of like it's the Nick Fury, what he carries the Tesseract in. So
Speaking of Blu-rays,
Is it coming out in around Christmas?
Probably.
no, I think September.
That's around Christmas.
That's,
I want that for Christmas now.
But
I just want the 4-disc set. I think.
speaking of Blu-rays, when you pre-order Prometheus on Blu-ray, you get a free ticket for Prometheus.
Now that
what?
is
Wait, what?
that I may do that.
How do they do that?
They're already selling the Blu-ray of Prometheus.
Well,
Yeah,
pre-order,
pre-order.
pre-sale.
Isn't the turnaround time for movies coming out on like discs still like 6 months?
No. It's
Is it 3
closer
months
to,
now?
Closer to 3 or 4 months.
Depends on the
maybe.
movie.
4 months is tops. Yeah.
I don't
I
think
mean, they're
there's the Sherlock Holmes sequel. I don't think that's out on Blu-ray yet.
I think it is.
Well, if it is, it must have been really recently. But yeah,
You know,
well, it says you have to be one of the first 5,000 customers to pre-order it on Blu-ray.
that could go really fast.
Have you already pre-ordered?
I'm thinking about it. It's $28, but I'm sure the price will drop before it comes out.
Okay, Sherlock. It's going to come out on the 12th.
Okay, so very soon.
In your face.
You know, speaking of Avengers, if you go and check the Avengers thread, you can see a pretty funny like back and forth between Olympia and Kenzo. It's an entertaining read.
It's pretty great. You see, Kenzo hates Avengers with a passion.
I think you're putting words in his mouth, which I'm okay with.
Okay, I lied about how much that Avengers assembled collection is. It's $153.30 on
Whoa,
Amazon right
That's
now.
even more.
It's
Oh my
it's
goodness.
it's $220 normally, but the
Alright, forget that now.
the 4-disc combo is $35, and the 2-disc combo Blu-ray DVD is $28.
It won't actually cost that, though. It'll probably be half that.
What are you talking about? This is like marked down.
I know,
The
but they do that all the time.
50 to 35, and then 40 to 28. I don't know. What's the difference between the blue and the red one packaging here? I don't know.
3D
blue-
and non-3D, probably.
No, Blu-ray packaging and DVD packaging.
Gross.
Okay.
Who would buy a DVD?
I don't know.
Crazy
It's
people.
okay if
PS3.
it comes with it. So I'm going to be purchasing that eventually.
You know, that covers almost all the threads I had listed, so unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we move on to Moviebox.
There was the
A-Team.
Do you want to talk about
A-Team?
A-Team? It's your favorite movie of all time, right?
I watched the first episode of the TV show,
Didn't you also watch the
which
movie?
I've never seen. I didn't finish the movie
What's
yet,
wrong with you?
What is
That
wrong
movie's
with
like-
you? Why
The show
do
is
you
real good.
hate fun?
the show is really silly, but the movie takes itself way too seriously.
No, it doesn't.
What movie did you
What?
watch?
Most of the
Did you
movie,
get to
they're
the
so
tank?
serious,
Did
and
you
then
get
they
to
shoot
the
the
tank?
tank and fly around.
And the tank
Oh
was,
my
oh my
God.
god, that was so good.
Just moments of like ridiculous.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
Exactly, that's the point.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
What about the part when
I
they
like the TV
they
show.
broke Murdoch out of the hospital, and
God.
everyone was wearing
The
3D
beginning.
glasses?
That's pretty crazy.
Can't believe you
He
think it
sticks a
takes itself
lightning bolt.
seriously.
I didn't know Murdoch on the TV show was Dwight Schultz. I had no idea.
Broccoli,
Yeah, he plays
Broccoli, yeah.
Barkley,
broccoli.
And broccoli.
and a lot of video game voices.
Murdoch in the movie is the guy from District, was it 9?
9.
Sharto Copley. Yeah, and he's also... Never mind, I can't remember what else he's in.
He's in the A-Team.
Yeah. What else does he need to be in?
District 9, 2.
You know, I would really love to see the Neil Blomkamp, the guy who did District 9. I want him to do like a Half-Life movie.
He was supposed to do the Halo movie.
Well, yeah, and you could see
That
some of
will
that
never
stuff.
happen.
No, well, it
Well, you
wasn't.
could see the props from it in District 9. Like, some of the guns look like Halo guns.
Well, and then
Mhm.
they had the, I mean, because I remember watching District 9 and, like, seeing this thing, it's like, oh, that's, that is totally, a gravity gun from Half-Life, and that's what kind of made me want to really see that, but
Isn't he making
That
another
movie-
sci-fi movie with Matt Damon?
I think he's doing something. Let me stall for a second.
Stalling. Dead Space 3 got announced, sort of.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
looks interesting.
it's a co-op game.
Cool.
The screenshots I saw had guns instead of like plasma cutters, which makes me worried that it's not going to be focused on dismemberment and it's just going to be a generic headshot game, which completely
Well,
changes
the
the focus.
The dismemberment is what makes the combat in that game interesting.
And
I hope not.
I saw enemies with guns in it too, which also has me worried that it's just going to be a generic shooter.
We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, Neil Blomkamp has a new movie coming out March 1st of 2013 with Matt Damon, Jodie Foster, and some other folks. Sharlto Copley is going to be in, or Copley, however you pronounce his name. But, yeah, that'll be good.
What's it about?
It is set on another planet in the far future, and the film will combine socio-political ideas and action.
So it's District 9.
It sounds like it.
And
You just described District 9 again.
I think it was filmed in Vancouver. Yeah, and filming wrapped in December 2011. And it had a budget of $120 million. It's called Elysium.
When's it coming out?
March 2013, March 1st, 2013.
That
Well,
budget.
I hope it does well.
That budget is like 5 times the District 9 budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm that makes me a little bit nervous.
He did a lot
The
with a
budget
little.
budget for District 9 was $30 million. They made $210.
That movie is so good.
Yeah.
It's very violent. Lots of
is.
exploding
Oh.
people.
I,
Lots of giblets.
I think I saw that movie like 2 or 3 times in the theater and bought it like the first day it came out on Blu-ray. That's just one of those movies that I watched it and I absolutely loved.
That was one of my favorite movies that year, if not my favorite.
And
Wait.
Oscar nominated.
Didn't
That was 2009.
2009.
okay. Star Trek
Oh,
was
Star Trek came
yeah,
out. That was really good.
I'll take District 9 over Star Trek.
but it's the best Star Trek movie. Best Star Trek anything.
No.
Yep, deal with it.
Nope.
Oh, and other
Yeah.
sad Dead Space news, Dead Space 3 has a cover system. You can take cover. It makes me sad.
I don't like
No,
that.
So it's
Now,
so
if
now
he-
it's Gears of Space.
Yes.
Now if he takes cover and then starts shooting over stuff and starts screaming, "I don't give a shit," then we'll have
What?
I'm talking GTA 4 cover. Never mind.
Gears of War is the cover-based shooter that everyone refers to. Not the big, giant open world game.
Well,
this
I
conversation just
It
died.
did.
died. Yeah. Wah, wah.
Way to go, Totoro.
Because I wanted to move on to the other thing that happened this last week, and that was the announcement that George Lucas was going to be semi-retiring.
And someone is going to take his place.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy, who has been a producer associated with
Spielberg, right?
Spielberg a lot, but she also has done a lot of work with George Lucas as well. She was one of the producers on like Raiders of the Lost Ark as well. But the one thing that I hope that this means is that she will give the fans what they want, which is
just the original cuts of all
the original cuts remastered on Blu-ray. That is all I want.
I think we're gonna have to wait till he dies.
Maybe she'll also, put into production some movies that have better writing.
I don't care about that. I just want...
Maybe there'll be a special edition of episodes 1 through 3 with completely new dialogue and scenes, and maybe they'll just act like they don't exist and remake them.
You see, you're joking, but I can totally see that happening, which makes me really sad.
Sad? If the episodes 1 through 3 get improved in every way? Would make them so they're not terrible?
Do you think it's going to be an improvement?
Hopefully. I mean, how could they make them worse?
It's nice to want things.
How could they make it worse? Don't tempt them.
Oh, I want to see a worse version of episode 1.
No.
You know what that is? That's everyone is Jar Jar. Every single actor has been replaced by Jar Jar, and all the dialogue has been.
That could be so bad it's good. Yes, I would watch that. Totoro doesn't know what to say.
I'm just gonna go cry.
All I want to see is Han shoot first, like it always has been.
Yes.
That's
you don't like that awesome head jab?
That's so dumb.
And then the Jabba that they put in, I don't know. There were certain aspects that they went back and cleaned up and made changes to that I didn't mind, like when they're like in the final battle when they are attacking the Death Star. And they cleaned up some of those effects and digitized those, or digitally redid them. Those I didn't mind so much. In fact, I thought it was better that way. But when you kind of alter how characters are perceived, that doesn't really go over very well.
Would you want to see a new Star Wars movie starring like old Han, since Harrison Ford is old?
No, I want a different actor at this point.
Nathan Fillion.
At this point, I don't want it done.
Yeah, just I'm probably one of the few people that's going to say this, but the best thing they could do to Star Wars is take it out to the back, load the shotgun, and put out its misery quickly and painlessly.
Well, I don't know. There's that show, the Clone Wars show, is supposed to be good.
Well, didn't they do a movie based on that?
I don't know. That was supposed to be bad, but the show is supposed to be really good.
Yes.
You want to move on to this other movie that I just found out about yesterday?
Do you mean the Moviebox movie?
No, a different movie.
Okay, but then we do Moviebox movie.
The Seth Rogen movie.
Oh, right. The End of the World.
Yes. Dakazu, Ilya, and Rodney. Do you know what this is?
I'm afraid not.
Nope.
When you first brought that up, I thought we were talking about the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Edgar Wright movie.
Right.
Which I was like, oh yes, finally it's coming out, but this is something completely different.
What is this movie? What is the title?
The End of the World.
It's called The End of the World.
Okay, what's it about?
While attending a party at James Franco's house, Seth Rogen, Jay Baruchel, and many other celebrities are faced with the apocalypse.
Is this done by the same guy who did Pineapple Express? Because it sounds like it.
I have no idea.
You got James Franco and you got Seth Rogen.
Could be. This is his first movie directing, so no. But it also has Jonah Hill, Emma Watson, Rihanna, Jason Segel, Jay Baruchel, Danny McBride, Aziz Ansari, all playing themselves.
Wait, are they all playing themselves?
Yes.
Like in general?
Everyone in the movie plays themselves. That is what's interesting about it. Like I said, while at a party at James Franco's house. Not the character he's playing.
This is the guy who did Pineapple Express. He did Green Hornet.
No, this is
the first.
Did Evan Goldberg?
This is Evan Goldberg. This is the first movie he's directed.
He wrote those though. Well, but Pineapple Express and
he co-wrote them with Seth Rogen. They're a team.
Yep.
But he also co-wrote Knocked Up. Or no, I'm sorry, not Knocked Up. Superbad.
And the Ali G show.
Apparently, this is a remake.
Is it?
of a
short they did.
Of a short that they did, Jay and Seth versus the Apocalypse. It was
Did not know that.
Seth Rogen and Jay
why did
Baruchel.
you want to bring this up? What's so interesting
Is
about
Baruchel how you pronounce his name?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's right.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian,
I trust Rodney on this.
He's from Montreal.
I don't know.
Wait, so what is interesting about this? Just the fact that they're playing themselves? Is that why you want to bring it up?
Yes.
Well, the concept just sounds
the concept
really,
is great. Dakazu is not impressed because he hates fun.
Well, I want to see something more, like a movie trailer or something.
There's no trailers.
That will give me a better understanding of the context.
Not happening.
There's just photos right now.
People aren't going to be able to hear these long silences in between this conversation right now.
Yeah,
you're going to cut them out again.
I should leave them in.
Adds
flavor.
It's currently in pre-production, and it's supposed to be, a June 14th, 2013 release.
Yes.
At this time, it may change at some point in time.
I think it could be cool.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll have to, like I said, I want to see a trailer and some more information and stuff. I think we should move on to
nice
Moviebox,
to want things.
It is. This week's Moviebox pick was Bronson, about the life of Charlie Bronson, super famous prisoner in Britain. And it was brought to us by Kevin EP3. And all I have to say is, Kevin, thank you. Because I did not, all I needed in my life was so much naked Tom Hardy.
That's
seriously.
Yes. It's Bane.
It's Bane, yeah.
Yeah, and he's naked. A lot.
Yes, he is.
Isn't he Captain Picard?
No, that's Christopher Pine.
That's Kirk.
No, he's Picard.
He's Picard.
Yeah, in Nemesis.
Shit, fuck. Oh, yeah, I'm
Picard
sorry,
clone.
You're right. Picard clone. I was thinking, God damn it.
Okay, wait. Okay, who saw this? Actually, you saw this,
Yes.
right? Rodney, did you see this?
I did not.
Ilya?
Totoro, did you see this?
What are we talking? Star Trek Nemesis or Bronson?
We're talking about Bronson. It's the movie.
Someone brought up Star Trek. No, I watched all but the last 30 minutes of it. I ran out of time.
Really? You didn't see the last 30 minutes?
No, it was
That's where
interesting.
the majority of naked Tom Hardy was.
Well, I count myself among the fortunate. I'm going to finish it up as soon as we're done.
So how about that ending?
Yeah. This is so good.
Remember when he destroyed the world?
Naked.
I know, right?
Then he fought
gets the power
Godzilla.
of like, yeah, it's great.
I did not.
And then Smokey the Bear appeared and made sure to inform him that only he could prevent forest fires.
I did not expect, Picard to show up because he's his clone.
Yeah, but I was unsettled because Picard was naked. Too naked.
See, Patrick Stewart would never get that naked.
He's a never nude.
Yeah.
Nice.
Walks around and cut off Gene Schwartz.
Nice. Good reference. I know what that means now. Because I finally saw Arrested Development.
Why are we whispering?
I don't know.
It's a secret. Secrets.
I guess we should explain this to Rodney and Ilya a little bit more.
It's not about the Charles Bronson, the actor from Death Wish. I don't know if you know that is the actor from Death Wish.
Is it about Pierce Brosnan?
No, it's Bronson,
Yes.
not Brosnan.
Oh, wait. Right.
His real name was Michael something.
Peterson.
Yes.
See, I paid attention to the parts that I
And
didn't
it's
watch.
based on a true story. Most famous prisoner in Britain or something. He's been in prison for 30 years, and 27 of them he was spent in solitary confinement.
I thought it was like 34 years, 30 in solitary.
It says at the end of the movie.
Oh.
What do you guys think about the style?
I liked it.
Like how there were a lot of slow moments with like lots of music behind it.
I like that.
Well, and that's
I like that scene towards the beginning when he first got into prison, and then it looked like he was crying, and then it cut to him laughing at the crowd wearing the face paint.
Yeah, the movie is intercut with him narrating his own life, and like those take place on stage with like an audience, like laughing at his jokes and like stuff.
Well,
One of my favorite scenes was One of my favorite scenes was when he was like talking, like he had half his face painted and he kept turning around, so it looked like he was playing two characters.
Right. Yeah, that was great. So Totoro, you never got to where he went back to prison.
No, I didn't.
He went back to prison. Spoilers.
Yes, big surprise.
Okay. I'm not shocked at all. Well, and the thing about this was that you talked about kind of the slow moments in the music and all that stuff, and
what was that?
That was Mrs. Totoro opening a book.
It sounded like a dog shaking.
Yeah, are you sure?
That was a dog shaking. I'm sorry. I was like, I didn't know which one you were referring to. Anyway, but those moments really reminded me of another movie by the same director. This movie was directed by, and I'm going to butcher his name because he's Dutch, but Nicholas Winding Refn, who he also directed Drive. But, or as X likes to call it,
Unintentional Staring Contest, the movie.
Exactly. But it really kind of fit because I found the whole movie kind of unsettling, and just kind of being, introduced to this character and the way he kind of very casually would talk about certain things and play down, kind of how he would act.
What I thought was interesting was how he was the most violent criminal and he had never killed anyone.
Yeah, he just liked to beat people up, and he would take hostages, but he wouldn't really. It's not like he maimed them or anything. It's not like a serial killer kind of sickness. It's just like there's something off about him, and he
beat the shit out of everyone.
Yeah, he just feels the need to punch people for violence and stuff like that.
And then he started to like art.
Yeah, at the end of that last scene in the movie.
Spoilers for Totoro.
Oh my god.
He likes art. He likes drawings because he's British. And that's how you say drawings.
One thing about this movie is Tom Hardy. He did a great job.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
Of being naked.
He acted the crap out in this movie. It was really good.
Well, it kind of, watching this, it's definitely kind of easy for me to see, how he made the leap from doing something like this to something like Inception. Was this before Inception? Yes. Okay, excellent. Making the leap of, doing something like this to going to something like Inception, because I don't really remember seeing him in anything between, Star Trek and, essentially this era of his career.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. He went from the Star Trek to this to Inception.
Wasn't he in a movie with Captain Kirk?
Yeah, This Means War. That movie looked dumb. Do you guys know what that movie is?
Nope.
Him and Kirk are competing for Reese Witherspoon. They're both dating her, and they're spies.
Does Kirk win or
I have no
Picard?
idea. I haven't seen it. I just saw the trailers and commercials. It looks dumb. And they're spies, and then they start fighting each other. Like I said, it looks dumb.
He was in Layer Cake. I didn't realize that.
Getting back to this movie, though, I would say I liked it. It wasn't a great movie, but I enjoyed it. And I think I agree with Totoro. The way they frame a lot of the scenes and stuff like that, it makes you really feel uneasy. And I think the most interesting thing was it just kind of ends, right, X?
Yeah. Well, it ends and then it goes back in for a second to show him again.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I think the movie was just a showcase for Tom Hardy's acting.
Pretty much. I mean, it's just because there's no resolution to this guy's life.
Well, if he's still alive and in prison, then I guess there won't be.
Yeah. You're just kind of experiencing the character.
It was kind of interesting that they locked him up thinking he was crazy, and then he cost them so much money they just said he was sane just to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he clearly had issues.
That was the only part where they actually used live footage, real footage.
Yeah, footage of the real guy. But they never showed his face because he was wearing a mask.
So X, you liked it?
Yeah. Ilya and Rodney, I'm sure, are enthralled by this conversation.
I don't know, it's very interesting.
Sounds good.
I definitely recommend watching it just because it is literally not like anything that I think I have ever really seen, even though I kind of compared some of the technical aspects of it, or the way certain things were presented, the way I compared certain things to Drive. It's still completely different. I mean, there is nothing else really like it.
And it was made for like $12 or something. Really low budget.
Cool. I have next week's Moviebox pick, which is by blah blah blah, and it is Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
I have not seen this.
And it is on. Bob said it is like it's a mockumentary. It's kind of like Cabin in the Woods in the sense that it's kind of like a commentary on the genre.
Right. Sounds cool.
Oh, this has Robert Englund in it and Scott Wilson and Zelda Rubinstein. Scott Wilson, this is the same one. Yeah, this is Herschel from The Walking Dead.
He's also on The Blob. And Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger.
Yes. Well, this is on Insta streaming, so this is what we'll be watching for next week.
Excellent.
Let's wrap up so we can play Diablo.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of Diablo.
Okay, I will wrap up then. Thank you, Ilya. Thank you, Rodney, for being here.
Of course.
You're welcome.
We need to ask Ilya how he feels being on a podcast now. Do we need to revisit that?
Yes, we do.
You're good. It was fun, actually. I actually enjoyed myself.
Awesome.
I think he was unsure if he was going to enjoy himself.
Well, there was one thing I wanted to ask you, Dakazu.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you at the beginning if I could sing, but that probably wouldn't be appropriate.
How about some Les Mis?
I'd be fine with it.
You should have sung during the Les Mis part.
Okay. There, out in the darkness, a fugitive running, fallen from grace, Lord be my witness, I never shall yield, till we come face to face,
Very excellent.
Clap, 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 clap.
That's great.
I'm glad you stopped within 30 seconds so we don't get, busted
Right.
for
Put
stuff.
some GarageBand in there. Some applause. That would be good.
That's outside our budget.
Okay.
And also insert a laugh track at some point in the podcast.
Okay.
Oh, man. You guys should do that.
We'll do it right after Rodney introduces himself.
No, that needs to be the cheering sound.
Yay!
Once it comes,
Okay.
when the character is first seen, everyone cheers and claps.
Yeah, you can be the heel.
It'd be great.
That'll be good.
Okay, thanks for listening to this episode. Thank you for Ilya and Rodney and special guest Tumble for appearing on this episode. If you enjoyed this podcast, please donate to the official Geekbox Mumble server where we record this and we also hang out and play video games like Diablo together. If you want to participate in our podcast, jump in the Mumble, come say hi to us, ask us. You can also PM us on the forums. You can PM X, Totoro, or me, Dakazu, at forums.geekbox.net. We have an email, Totoro email.
Podcast at alltalkpodcast.com.
And we have a Twitter.
At alltalkpodcast.
Thank you. And don't forget to listen to the other Geekbox podcasts, including The Geekbox, The Comic Conspiracy. Big ups to Master Higgins for always pimping our podcast. The Comedy Button, and Good Job Brain. Alright, that's the end. I love you.
I know.